Update. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad's side of the family why I went no contact with him? Original post. I, 23 female, have been no contact with my dad since I was 18, along with my two brothers, 22 and 26. My mom died when I was 6, and until I was 8, it was just my dad, me, and my two brothers. Then when I was 8, my dad married my stepmom. Let's call her Beth. Beth had 2 kids of her own, a girl a year older than me and a boy 3 years older than me. My dad quickly moved us all in together, and they decided that the sleeping arrangements would be that Beth's 2 kids would have their own room each, and me and my 2 brothers had to share. This kind of set up the entire precedent for our new lives. From little things like Beth telling me and my brothers off if we didn't let her 2 kids choose what was on TV, to bigger things, to kids anyway, like the presents we got at Christmas and birthdays. On Christmas, Beth's kids always had huge piles of gifts, the newest gaming stations and TVs, etc. And my brothers and I would each get little piles of tat basically. The 3 of our combined presents every year equaled one of their present piles, if that. I remember about a year into living together, Beth insisted that her kids call my dad Dad, but my brothers and I were never allowed to call her Mom. Not that we even wanted to, but she made it a point to tell us that she was just Beth to us. My dad went along with her obvious favoritism, and even began acting like it himself not long after living together. Beth's daughter and I went to the same school and were in the same netball team, and one time when I was 14, we had a netball tournament trip to Paris, and we'd also spend 2 days at Disneyland. I was so excited for this, but then reality sank in when my dad and Beth sat us down and told us that they only had money for one of us to go, and of course they chose Beth's daughter. They said it was because she was older and would be leaving school next year, but this was a one-time trip that wouldn't be repeated, and both of us were players on the A team. Also, my dad worked a good job, and Beth had money of her own from her first marriage, so they could have afforded to let both of us go. They just didn't want to. Beth had been physically punishing my older brothers since about a year into us all living together, and when I was about 10, she started doing the same to me. Then my dad decided to start doing the same to us, because we were naughty kids who needed to learn respect. I remember one time he slapped me so hard that I had a bruised handprint on my thigh for about a week. I remember it so vividly because in the changing rooms for PE or netball practice, I was always terrified that someone would see it. Beth's children were never punished at all. Not verbally, not physically, not even a, "that's wrong, don't do that," despite them being downright horrible children who tormented my brothers and me. Beth used to punish me and my brothers anytime we did anything that she deemed unacceptable, even if her children were doing the same thing alongside us. Her favorite method of punishment was cold showers, where she'd stand there and watch us while we were undressed and under the cold water, to make sure we didn't avoid standing under it or switch it to warm water. This went on until I was 16, and my dad knew about it and even encouraged it. If he ever caught us doing anything he didn't like, after either screaming at or slapping us, he'd call her and tell her it was cold shower time. Then, when Beth's son and daughter turned 17, my dad paid for driving lessons and eventually bought a car for both of them. When my brothers and I were 17, he outright refused to. When Beth's son, who's the same age as my eldest brother, went to uni, Beth and my dad paid for a 1-bed flat for him, so he wouldn't have to stay in student housing. My brother, of course, had to take out a student loan and work a part-time job to even attend uni, and obviously he had to stay in student housing with roommates. When my brother was 21 and finishing uni, he was renting his own flat and was lucky enough to go straight into a full-time job, so he offered me and my brother, 18 and 17 at the time, to move in with him. We had all been sharing one bedroom practically our entire childhood and teenage lives anyway, so him only having a 1-bed didn't matter to us. We were just ecstatic to get away from our dad, Beth, and Beth's children. All 3 of us cut contact with our dad, Beth, and Beth's kids that day. Cut to last weekend. Our grandparents on our dad's side have known for years that none of us speak to our dad, but they don't know why. They invited us to one of our cousins' birthday parties at their house, and after assuring us that our dad and Beth wouldn't be there, we decided to go. Well, as you can probably guess, they were there. I don't know if this was my grandparents' way of trying to bring us back together because they didn't know about my dad and Beth's abuse, but either way, we were all angry and decided to leave. Beth decided to pass snarky comments about ungrateful children ruining a birthday and ruining family, while my dad stood awkwardly staring at us. That's when I snapped. I very loudly told Beth, mainly the rest of my family if I'm being honest, that her and my dad were the ones ruining family. That our entire life her and my dad had abused and neglected my brothers and me, all while giving her children everything. Buying them cars and paying for uni and flats for them while making us have to work and provide for everything ourselves. Physically abusing us as kids, even when Beth's kids did something wrong, and them never ever getting any punishments. Beth kicking off anytime we spoke about our mom. Forgot to mention this part, but she hated us speaking about our mother. She'd go insane and say we were disrespecting her for speaking about her, or looking at her photos, or asking our dad about her. After that we left, so I don't quite know what went on, but I got messages from my grandparents and my auntie and uncle all saying that, if it was true, that they had no idea, and were hoping that us being together again would rekindle our relationship with our dad. But that I shouldn't have said all that in front of the entire family, and that I should have handled it privately with my dad and Beth. I don't think I was in the wrong for saying what I did, in front of who I did, and neither do my brothers, but other family members clearly think I am. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for telling my dad's side of the family why I went no contact with him? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not even close to being an a-hole. I literally feel like I'm going insane with how my family are acting about the entire situation. Proper making me doubt whether I'm too close to the situation to see if their points are valid or not, hence posting on here. You are not the a-hole. You told the family what your father and Beth had done because A. Grandparents tricked you into seeing them, and B. Your step-monster started muttering criticism of you three being ungrateful children. I find it hard to believe that no one in the family knew that Beth's children were being treated better than you and your brothers. They may not have known about the punishments, but they would have known something. Didn't they wonder why you had to share a room with your brothers instead of your stepsister? Who makes different sex siblings share a bedroom if there is any alternative? They probably didn't want to ask questions. I am sorry that your father's family is only interested in the appearance of peace. You did nothing wrong. When we were younger, okay, but when we were all teenagers, who the heck looks at a 14 male, 15 female, and 18 male forced to share a room, while the other 16 female and 18 male have their own room, and thinks, yeah, that makes sense. Not the a-hole. Your grandparents, aunt and uncle shouldn't have tricked you into seeing your dad and his wife, and they were way out of line implying what you said might not be true, and telling you that you shouldn't have brought it up. They were wrong. You were right. I think that's what I'm the most angry about. It's not exactly common for 3 kids to completely cut off their father the second they turn 18, 17 for my younger brother. Even if they didn't know why, none of them even asked us. And to trick us all into seeing them after 5 years and then act as if I'm the one in the wrong for airing out dirty laundry is infuriating. Now for the update. Firstly, thank you to everyone who left kind comments on my original post, and also to the people who shared their own abuse stories. I know even typing it out is tough, and I hope every single one of you is doing well now. So, I am so mad. I created a group chat with my dad's side of the family and sent them this post, along with a copy and paste of what I said, in case they didn't click on the link, and also another message detailing some other abuse we all suffered that I didn't want to include in the post. My brothers also did this. And the overall response was that they were pissed off at the replies more than the actual content of my post. My auntie's first response to seeing the post was, "Why are you posting family drama online for strangers to butt in and call us a-holes when none of them know us?" Not, "Oh my god, you were abused?" Just, "How dare these people on the internet think I'm a crappy person?" She also went off on me a bit because she saw some of my replies. One of them about how I now suspected they all knew all along, and had the freaking audacity to say, "You were always clothed, fed, and had a roof over your head," as if that makes all the abuse and neglect okay? And even those stupid points had conditions for the 3 of us. So hi Joe, I hope you're also reading this update. Screw you. My gran said she didn't think it was as bad as that, basically admitting that she knew it was at least somewhat bad and did nothing about it. She also suggested that we all sit down with my dad and talk. That your dad's a well-meaning man. No. This makes me even more angry that she tricked us into seeing our literal abusers again, considering she at least knew some of it. Overall, the close family, grandparents, aunties, and uncles outed themselves as crappy humans who knew the entire time that at least some form of abuse and neglect was going on, but were more angry at me for outing it, especially to strangers online. That's really pissed them off. And still believe I ruined my cousin's birthday party for airing out my dirty laundry. The three of us have blocked them all and no longer want anything to do with them. Thankfully, though, our older cousins and one auntie are on our side. My auntie said she's disgusted at my dad, along with her other siblings, auntie and uncle, after finding out that they knew, or at least suspected something was wrong with our childhoods and their responses to me sending the post, and has since apologized to my brothers and me for the way we grew up. I really hope she's sincere and actually had no idea. So for now, we haven't gone no contact with her. But we're also somewhat cautious because I'm still struggling to understand how she couldn't have known at all about anything if it was apparently a known secret within the family. I think we're going to keep this relationship as strictly an over-the-phone relationship, at least for now anyway. The shower thing was straight-out sexual abuse. Yeah, I learned this from a few other comments in my original post. Wasn't expecting to feel the way I did after learning it. Took me back for sure. May I ask about the relationship with your mother's side of the family? Are they around? Do you have a relationship with them? I am assuming not. And your family really sucks, but must be abusers themselves. Usually that is a learned behavior. I hope you can heal from this and move on. Just keep them blocked and out of your lives. Hugs from this internet auntie. When my dad married Beth, we moved from Wales to England, so had no contact with my mom's family. My dad didn't even tell them that we were moving countries or where we were living. But thankfully, when I was 20, I found my mom's sister online, and now we're back in contact with them and see them a few times a year. They're all lovely, thank God. From a total stranger. Hey Joe, and the rest of your crappy family. Hope you all rot in hell. Or if that doesn't exist, may you always be itchy. Good for you, OP. Your father and his family are a-holes and don't deserve to be a part of your life. I wish you healing and a life of peace going forward. Last story. Am I the a-hole for making my parents' lives harder because they let their miracle baby, my sister, do whatever the heck she wants, and it's embarrassing and I don't want to deal with her behavior? My parents tried to have more kids after me, 16 male, for years. I can't remember how long they said, but I was only a few months old when they started trying for another baby. It didn't happen, and they had fertility tests and treatments to help, but those didn't help as fast as they wanted. My early memories of my parents were of them stressing out over having more kids and being depressed they couldn't have another kid. The other early memories I have are of them fighting with my grandparents on both sides and my aunts on my mom's side. My grandparents and aunts would always remind them to enjoy having me and to put some of the energy they spent on having another kid back into me. My grandparents and aunts would remind them I was still a kid and would feel left out if they were always chasing after having another kid. My parents would get explosively mad over it, and my parents always accused my grandparents and aunts of not understanding and lacking compassion for what they were going through. I was 10 when IVF helped my mom get pregnant with my miracle to my parents' baby sister. I was 11 when she was born, and she was 3 months early. When she did okay and had no long-lasting health complications, she was considered an even bigger miracle by my parents. The only long-term effect from being born early seems to be my sister's height. She's really small for her age and has struggled to grow and has needed hormones to help her. Because my parents see her as their miracle, they let her get away with so much crap. She's spoiled excessively. She takes over every house she's in, whether it's ours or someone she visits. My parents say she's a diva, like it's a really good thing. They give me a lot of grief for not cheering my sister on, and for not finding her attitude cute like they do. They get mad at me when I tell her not to steal food off my plate. They get mad at me if I keep my stuff out of her reach, or when I eat with my arm around my plate so she can't take stuff. They get mad when I say no to my sister. They get mad that I don't buy her gifts or treats. I got my first job this summer, still working there, and my parents expected me to bring home candy and ice cream to my sister or to buy her Barbies or something. And when my sister broke my school laptop by pushing it off the table while I was grabbing something, they expected me to handle the fallout from it and yelled at my grandparents when they were told that wasn't fair. My parents can't keep a babysitter, so they expect me to help out by babysitting or taking care of my sister sometimes. I refuse to help with that, and I leave when they bring it up. A few times they tried to surprise me last minute with it, and I just left and went somewhere else. Other times my mom has dragged me grocery shopping with her so I can keep an eye on my sister, and I refuse to get out of the car. Then she yells at me when my sister breaks or tries to steal something, and my mom gets a lecture for it. A couple of weeks ago, my dad was sick and mom was out of town, and he asked me to watch my sister while he went to urgent care. I left before he could leave, and he couldn't take my sister with him. So he called my grandparents on his side to complain about me, and he told them to send me back. But I went to my other grandparents, which made it easier to avoid his wrath right then. I was grounded for a week for doing that though, and my parents told me I need to stop making life hard. I told them they need to stop letting my sister get away with everything and then expecting me to deal with her behavior. I think you can guess their reaction, but if you can't, they were extra pissed at me for acting like my sister behaves badly and for not jumping at the chance to take care of her. They were so offended I think she's anything less than perfect. Am I the a-hole? You're 16. Go live with the grandparents who are on your side. If your parents call the police for your return, just tell them you're being emotionally neglected and abused, and also tell the police that if they make you go back, you'll just keep running away. Tell them you feel safest at grandparents' house. All my grandparents are on my side, but I don't want trouble to come down on them because I run to their house. I'll stay for now and leave as soon as I'm 18. Respectfully, they are great big adults and you're still a minor. Have they told you that they don't want you? If they are willing to handle that fallout, you should let them. They have a lifetime of experience dealing with your stupid a-hole parents. Do not give yourself 2 more years of trauma just to be nice to them. If they're willing to have you, leave your parents' house and start building your independent adult life. You already have a backbone and know how to set boundaries. Leave them all in the dust behind you. My worry isn't the fallout from my parents, but the fallout if the police decide my grandparents are in the wrong, or if a court gets involved and decides they are. That's the last thing I want.